Hey guys, my name is Gil, and in this video I'm going to show you how to do an open track on a rear handle spear gun. It's a fairly easy operation as compared to an enclosed track, but I'll show you how to do this step by step from setup to actually cutting the gun. So this is on the same gun that I've been working on, the same one that I showed you how to do a trigger pocket on. So I'm going to pick up where I left off on that very same gun. Okay, so let's get started. Okay, so the first step is to basically get your fence aligned. If you guys notice, this is the very same gun I did the trigger pocket on, and ideally what you want to do is route your trigger pocket and then keep the same fence set up so that it'll be perfectly aligned with the track. But in this case I'm going to show you how to start from scratch, assuming that your fence isn't aligned, and show you how to align it to the trigger pocket. Now, if you remember from the first video, I used a centering pin with a point, but in this case we're going to be using a 3/8 round nose bit, and it's got quite a good length of shank here. This is a 1/2 inch diameter shank, and the width of the trigger pocket is also a 1/2 inch. So what I'll be able to do is basically insert this into the collet of the router and have some residual length here, and use that to center the pocket, center the gun to the trigger pocket. Insert this into the router. And make sure I have about 3/4 or 1/2 inch of shank to use as for centering. Okay, so I'm going to tighten that down. Okay, that's nice and tight. Now I want to bring it down so that the collet nut is below the surface of the router, the table surface. Okay, so let's lower that down. Okay, so what I'm going to do is use that as to check the fit, or the center of that shank to the width of my trigger pocket. Okay, so as you recall, also in my other video is that I routed the trigger pocket with the butt first, going forward to the left here. So I'm going to do the same here. Bear in mind, I'm going to say this again, there's really no right or wrong way to route your trigger pocket, or your track for that matter. I'm going to put this over, so there's a little bit of play there. So now I want to bring my fence. It's easier to when the side goes down, so I'll slide this down here. Okay, so there's no difference, but it's pretty well centered. Now I want to lock down my fence. Okay, now my bit is nicely centered with the trigger pocket, and that will ensure that I have a track that's centered with the trigger pocket. I've locked down my fence, And next thing I want to do is lower the bit down all the way so that it's below the surface of the router. And set the height here. So I'll do that. Okay, so I know that I want my track to be 1/4 inch deep. So how do I get this precisely to the right level so that I have a 1/4 inch deep track? Now they make some fancy height gauges out there, some digital height gauges. You can they might be worth the money. You can go out and spend some money and get a nice height gauge. But if you have a pair of calipers, which I think is an essential tool in making a spear gun. If you already have a pair of calipers, I'll show you how to make a little jig here to measure the height of your bit here. So what I've done is basically taken a piece of wood, and it's long enough to span the whole of your router table. So and what I've done is basically flattened or straightened this surface here, and I've drilled 2 pilot holes with an 1/8 inch drill, and I use a number 6 wood screw, and I drive those screws down. Now what this does is it allows you to get a pretty incremental or a precise adjustment on the height here of your screw head. Now I want to go 1/4 inch deep on my track, so what I'll do is I'll take the measurement off the head of the screw to the surface of the piece of wood here. So I'm going to go and do that right now and see what I get. I'm actually at 0.2 inches, so I know I want to go to a 1/4 inch, so I want to raise both sides and keep checking that. It's a little too high, so you'll have to iterate a few times to get it to the right height. A little bit more on this side. Okay, so now both these screw heads are offset from this flat surface by 1/4 inch, and that's how deep my router bit is going to go. So the nice thing about this is when you set it on top of your router table, as soon as the bottom or the router bit touches the bottom of the jig here, it'll wobble. It'll do this on you, if you can see that. So that'll tell me to stop. It's a visual indicator, which is nice. Okay, the next step is to raise the height of the bit so that it's flush with the surface of the router tabletop here. And I can use my handy jig here to tell me when it's flush. Okay, so we know that a router bit here is flush with the top of the table here, and we also know that we're going to take a final cut depth of 1/4 inch. Now you don't want to do that all in one pass, so we're going to divide that into 2 passes, both 1/8 of an inch deep at a time. Okay, so I'm going to raise this 1/8 of an inch. Okay. Okay. So that'll be the depth of our first pass. Now, the way I'm going to do this is I'm going to start with the bit in the middle of the trigger pocket. Okay, and we're gonna push the stock this way. Okay, so you want to support the gun so that it doesn't come off of this fence. Okay, so the way you do that is you use a feather board, and a feather board is used to apply pressure to the work as you slide it through. I'm going to clamp this feather board to the table here. Okay. So that feather board is going to keep it nice and snug up against the fence. Okay, so I think we're almost ready. Yeah, I think we are. We'll do our first pass, and then set the height of our router bit to the final depth, and we'll be just about done. Okay. Okay, so we're ready to go. Just going to need to turn on the router and start routing. Now you want to keep constant down pressure and push forward evenly. Okay. Make sure the bit is in the middle of the trigger pocket there. Start up the machine. Take our first pass. Alright. Looks like we got it nicely centered. Okay, so that's an 1/8 of an inch depth of cut, and so we want to take it to the full depth of cut now, and we're going to do that using our little handy dandy jig here. Okay, so you want to raise it slowly until you see this wobble. Okay, that's a little too much. Okay, so back it down. Okay, just barely started moving, so I'm going to back it off a little bit. Okay, that should be good. Okay. Put the feather board in place. Okay, so we're ready to go again with our final pass here. Let's do it. Now, if you want to, you can actually do an additional pass at the same depth and clean up your track a little bit. But I think we're pretty clean here and nicely centered. I think we're good to go. Okay, simple, huh?